Okay, class. Hello. Um, Welcome back again. This is the second part of our video. I kind of wanted to demonstrate a few things based on the PowerPoint that we went through. Okay. Um, this is again. Excuse me. Here is our ribbon, and I have the option of having these different panels: the draw, the modify, annotate, layers, and so on. Um, I have them organized, um, and then on the top I have these tabs, right? That takes me to um, different layers within the AutoCAD based on what I want to do. Okay, um, this top row right here is the generic row. Um, Before these ribbons came about, we were typically using this top row. Everything that you see on this top row um, can be found in the ribbons as well. Okay. If I typically want to get rid of this this top row, I can click this down arrow button, and I want to hide my menu bar. Okay. So typically what that does is it kind of gives me more room. As you can see how my screen jumped, it can give me more room to work with. Okay. So as I said before, here's my quick access toolbar. I can highlight what I want to see. Like here, I have this is going to be for new, open. If I want to save it, if I save as, if I want to be able to transition from the web to mobile. If I want to print it, I have an undo button here, and I have redo button here. So these you can customize these to your own satisfaction based on your how often you use them. Okay, so I did want to focus on the draw, the actual panel itself. Okay, so under my home tab, I can get these different panels. Okay, if I go to my insert tab, I get a set of different panels. Okay, if I go to annotate, I can get another set of different panels. If I want to go to parametric, if I want to go to view, if I want to be, if I have to manage something, which we'll get into a little bit of this. Okay, and it goes on, and there's more, but just due to the space that we have, again, you customize. As I made the example before. If you are in your vehicle, you adjust your mirrors, your seats, your radio, your temperature. You adjust it to your own satisfaction. Likewise, it's the same thing with AutoCAD. You adjust this workspace to your own specifications. How whatever you use very frequently, therefore there's no room for functions you use very infrequently. You get rid of them because they're just taking up space. Okay. So here's my line. Um, Again, if I click, I can initiate a command by left clicking it. And once I left click it, there's two things that's going to happen. First, you can see my command window here. It says line. Let me know that I've initiated a line, and it says specify the first point. Okay. And if you notice also where my crosshairs are, you're seeing typically two numbers. Okay. Now, if I just left click to initiate a point, if you notice, the command window is saying specify your next point. Okay. So if I want to specify the next point, and in this case, what you can see here, you see a length and you see a degrees. 6.31 is the length of that line that I've drawn, that I've moved over to the left, I mean to the right so far, and 0 degrees. Okay, and you see it has ortho on, right? 7.22 is letting you know the length of the line, and the little angle, the less than angle, is letting you know that it's going towards 0 degrees. Okay, so if you look at a complete circle, You have 0 degrees, you have 90 degrees, you have 180 degrees, and you have 270 degrees. Okay, so your 0 degrees act like you're going east. 90 degrees is like you're going north. 180 degrees is like you're going west, and 270 degrees is like you're going south. Okay, so we talked about some commands. So if I hit F8, it allows me now not to be so stringent just in one direction. I can move this line in so many different directions. Okay, if I wanted to just be a straight line, which we call ortho, I hit F8 again, and no matter if I move it, it's only going to go in increments of 90 degrees. And this is going east 0 degrees. If I come down, it's gonna come at 270. I go to the side to my right 180 degrees. I go up 90 degrees. Okay, so if I still look at my command window, it's asking me to specify my next point. So I'm just going to specify a point here. Okay, and then I can either go up or I can come down. It's up to me. So let's go up. I'm going to left click again, and then I'm going to move my cursor in the direction that I want the line to go in. And then what I can do is, if you notice that I purposely touched this line from up here. I purposely touched it because I want to be able to draw. I want my line to be pretty much this line that I'm extending. I want it to end right at the tip of this line. So where that green dotted line is and that X, that's where it ends. And if I left click there, the top line and the bottom line are parallel to each other and they're equal in length. So I can move my cursor down and I can actually hit C for close. As you can see here in my window, in my command window, I can hit C for close. If I hit C for close, type C in my keyboard and hit enter, that line is closed. Okay. So this is the beauty of a line, but there's more to it. But I just kind of wanted to show you how to draw a line and some of the functionalities that surround drawing a line. A polyline, as I said before, is this. So let me back up to the line. If I click on this line, you notice that this line is not connected to this line because I'm clicking them both, right? And they're not connected. There's no relationship between all these lines, these 4 lines that I've drawn. There's no relationship at all with them. Okay. Now, if I draw a polyline, if I left click, anytime I want to initiate a command, I have to left click on the mouse. Left click. Okay. Now, and anytime I want to start using the to initiate a point, so specify the start point, I'm going to left click, and then I can move my mouse to what direction I want. Let's say I move it over to 7.50. So I could type in 7.50, right? Hit enter. And mind you, I'm still in ortho, which is F8. Ortho just typically means allows me to draw complete straight lines. And if I come down, let's say 2.0, I type in 2.0, my keyboard, hit enter. Then I move my cursor over. I can move it over to, now I remember the top line was 7.50, so I type in 7.50, hit enter, and then I can just meet this line. It's an endpoint because the endpoints are meeting they're meeting together. So I left click, right, to initiate that command or that step. Then I right click, saying I want to be able to end that command, and it's done. Okay. Now, if you notice, this is regular line, meaning that this line has no relationship with this line in blue. These 2 lines in blue have no relationship to each other. But with the polyline, if I click any one line, they're connected to each other. Okay, so that's the difference between the 2. Okay, and we'll get more into why that is so. And if I want to make the blue lines kind of disappear, just hit escape, and they will disappear. And then you have your circle. Your circle has different configurations. If you want to draw a circle based on its radius or its diameter, or 2 points or 3 points, or 10 radius, which I'll show you how to use most of these. But to be quite candid with you, whatever profession that you're in, you probably only using like 2 or 3, unless you have some out of the way job that requires you to use something slightly different. Okay. Now, if you want to know more information about any command, just hover over it, and then once you hit F1 on your keyboard, it would tell you, it will give you more information about that particular command, and you can read through it. And if you want more, you can you can search keywords here. Okay. Now the arc command, as I said before, there's quite a few functions under the arc command. To be quite candid with you, I have not used all of them. There's only a few that I use. Again, that does not limit the functionality of the arc. It just depends on what field you're in. Okay, and if you want to create a polygon, okay, you can do that as well, or a rectangle, you can do that as well. And if you want to be able to create an ellipse, okay, you can do that. And if you want to be able to hatch, and we'll talk about hatching, quite a few people use this in architecture. If you want to mimic like sand or grass, whatever the case might be. It's also used in mechanical as well to indicate grades of steel, or grades of metal, I should say. Okay, so that's what. Then when I click this draw, left click it, I'm left clicking now to initiate this draw. You will see quite a few other components, but these are not really used on a consistent basis like the ones, like the line, the polyline, the circle, and the arc. Okay, so but they're located here. Okay, now I can move on to my modify. Okay, and my modify, again, I still have a plethora of modification tools that are not available or not visible, but I can make them visible. Again, depends on how frequent you use them. Okay. Then I have my move, and I'll show you how to use quite a few of these. So I'm just going to stay in these two panels for now. One last, actually, let me share one last panel. I want us to start being acclimated to creating layers. So for this drawing, for the drawing in your PowerPoint presentation, the class problem where it says guide plate, we're going to draw that now. Okay, and I want us to create a layer for the circle, and I want us to create a layer for the actual object itself, all the straight lines. Okay, so I just want to make sure that I didn't miss anything. I'll come back and talk about the text, okay, when we start dealing with dimension. Okay, when we start getting into architectural components, I would create a block, dealing with furniture or TVs or of that nature. I'll show you the design center that you can use to you can utilize blocks in that particular area as well. Okay, so the first thing you typically want to do when you're in this, when you've created a new window, and I'm going to erase this, and I can just click my erase button. Again, it's going to be under my modify tool. Just left click it, and then if you left click the object that you want to get rid of, left click this one, left click this one, left click this one, right click, and it's gone. I can hit the space bar on my keyboard to initiate the last command, which is erase. Again, always get in the habit of looking at your command window. Always get in the habit of looking at it. It tells you what to do. It tells you what it's asking for. Okay? It says select the objects. I'm going to select this object by left clicking on it, and I'm going to right click it to get rid of it. Okay? Now, we talked about um, this is my crosshairs, right? And I can I can modify my crosshair, make them longer or shorter, but I show you that as a function of time. I just want to get you to focus really on how to draw a line, how to modify a line if you've drawn one, how do you set up your page, okay? Now, once I've initiated a new page, again, I can initiate a new page from here as well too, where it says new. I can create a new page. Or I could come under this application window, hit the arrow, and I can hit new from here as well, new drawing, okay? Now, while I'm here, um, let me show you where I can modify my units, okay? So if I were to dimension this, you have the option of how much precision that you want to typically implement, okay? It could be either decimal, it could be architectural, right? It could be scientific. It's typically up to you, whatever you are drawing, okay? And you have the option of whether to be international, American, and you can use either millimeters, miles, whatever you see fit to whatever you're trying to replicate as far as drawing is concerned. You have all these options here, okay? And of course, with the angle part, this is the length, and then the angle you can either put in the degrees or degree minutes and seconds and radians. It's totally up to you, okay? So I just want to go back to my decimal, and I wanted to make it only a zero point 0.0 precision, okay? And I am going to keep it in inches, okay? And I'm going to hit OK, okay? So I've initiated my units, and then another important aspect of setting up your drawing space is you want to be able to create your limits. And I want you to Google this or look in your textbook what limits are. So limits typically just tells you and I that this is how much drawing space that I want. Now it varies from if you're using metric or if you're using um, or if you're using if you're going to use an imperial, okay? Um, so in this case, I want to be able to use. I'm using an imperial system, right? And I'll go back and show you what I mean by that. So for my limits, my drawing limits is just think of it as a rectangle, and my starting point is always going to be 0, 0. That's my lower left-hand corner, and then my how how far out I want it to go in terms of a rectangle. I want it to go a 9 by 12. So that's going to be 9, 12. So this whole area that I'm working in is a 9 by 12. Okay. Now let me do this. I'm going to back up a little bit. I want to set up a new page. So when I go to the new page, this dialog box comes up, and it's very important that this dialog box comes up because you want to be able to. Sometimes you may be initiating a drawing in metric or in imperial, so you have to choose which template that you want to be able to do this in. Okay, it just makes life a whole lot easier for you. Okay, so I'm going to go with imperial. Okay, I'm going to click OK. Now, if you don't see this, right, what I want you to do is after you've, if you don't see this dialog box, I want you to go into your command window and type in startup. Right? Oops. Startup. Okay. Hit enter. And if it doesn't come up, that means your value is 0. By mine's coming up, it's a value of 1. So if you want it to come up, you hit a value, you hit 1, and you hit enter. Okay. Then of course you go to your units. Now I showed you how to get to units from here, right? But I can show you another way. Just in your command window, you want to be able to bring your cursor. You don't necessarily have to bring your cursor over, or you can just type in units. and you can see units come up, and then you can click units, and it takes you to the same dialog box. So as I was saying earlier, there's so many different ways of how to execute a particular task. Um, you're gonna find the most efficient way for you, okay? And I want to be able to decrease my precision. Well, when I say decrease, meaning I meant to increase it by having less zeros. Okay, it's going to be inches, international, and I'm okay. Okay, um, so let's get to this drawing. Um, I'm going to import this drawing. So I'm going to go again. A lot of this stuff is very intuitive. I want to bring something in. So just like Microsoft Word or PowerPoint, you want to be able, when you bring in an image in, you pretty much inserting something. So now I want to be able to, if I go into my attach, this is my plate, and let's put it right here. Ooh, so this guide plate is not the best in terms of, it's clear, crystal clear in the image, but once I bring it into AutoCAD, it is not clear at all. But since you have a copy of it, we're going to continue. So for those, you'll typically see what I'm doing. So and I'm going to go back to my home tab. Okay. So I wanted to, again, what I've done was I set my I've set my units, I set my limits, and I want to create a layer. Okay. So again, I want these straight lines on this diagram to be a certain color, and my circles to be a certain color, and my dimensions to be another color. So under layers, the layer tab, I'm going to hit layer properties. Okay. And this dialog window comes open, right? So I want to be able to create a new layer. Okay. And I'm going to call this the object. And I'm going to go to my color scheme, and I'm going to make that, well, let's make this cayenne. Okay. And I'm going to go back to my layer again, left clicking on it. Sometimes you may have to click it twice. I think it's just a glitch in this software. And then I'm coming down to this particular icon, and then if you left click it, and it creates another layer for you. Okay. And I'm going to say type in circle. Okay. And I'm going to move over to the color. I'm going to left click it, and the index color is going to be 20, and then hit OK. Okay. So now I'm going to go back to my layer tab, and right where this function is, I'm going to left click it, so it gives me a drop down menu, and I'm going to click object. So at this point, I've told AutoCAD that I want to be able to create objects or create any kind of object using this color. So if I left click my line command, okay, and then I'm going to start at the bottom. Now this is very important for those when you want to draw. You want to find out where is the most efficient place for me to start drawing. How much information do I have where I can start? Okay, so you have to pick based on how you think. You have to be able to choose where you want to start first and work from that point. So I'm going to start in my lower left hand corner, and I'm going to create a line that's going to be, I do that by left clicking, and I'm moving my cursor over to my left. To my right. Okay, and then I want it to be 8 units long. Okay, but as you can see, this line as I'm moving my mouse, it's giving me this angle, and I don't want that, so I'm going to hit F8. Keep it straight, ortho. So I'm going to type in 8.0, hit enter. Okay, so now I'm going to move up, and it tells me that this unit is 6.5 units high. So I'm going to type in 6.5 units high. 6.5 units high. Okay. Now, as you can see, it's off the screen. So what I want you to do is take your on your mouse, the wheel, press the wheel down. As you can see a hand when you press the wheel down, and move it down this way. Okay. Just move the diagram. You can move it back and forth to kind of get a feel. Move it left to right to kind of get a feel for it. Okay. And I'm going to stop right here and let the wheel go. Okay. Now, I'm still in my line command though. Keep in mind, keep looking at your command window as you're looking at where you're drawing as well. Okay. So I'm going to move this line over. I'm going to move it to my left, and I'm going to move it 8 units over, 8.0. Right. Now I want to be able to bring it down because I want it to be able to connect this line here. So what I can do is I don't have to do all of that. I can just, as you can see in my command window, I can click close, and it closes that line for me. Okay. Now I could have typed in 6.5 coming down, but it's all about efficiency. Okay. So now I've drawn this rectangle. Now I want to be able to create. I want to start working on the lower right hand corner here. Okay. So I need to get rid of. Some things here. So I'm gonna hover over to my line command, left click it, and come back to this edge here, and I'm going to create a construction line. I'm gonna, as I hover, as my crosshairs is hovering over this endpoint here, I'm gonna left click it and come all the way down. The units doesn't necessarily matter because it's nothing more than a construction line. And I'm gonna left click, right click, and hit enter. Left click, enter. Okay. That ends the command. Okay. Now I want to initiate the line again. Rather than me moving my cursor all the way up here again to initiate the line command, while I'm here, I can just hit my space bar. Once I hit my space bar, if you look at your command window, it's initiated the last command, which was a line. So I come over to this endpoint, I left click, I move it to my right, left click again, right click, left click to hit enter, and it's that command has been executed. Okay. Now, what I would like to do is I would like to now move these lines 2.5 to my left. These construction lines, I want to move them 2.5 upward and 2.5 to my left. So I'm going to come over to my move command. Again, I don't have to come all the way up here to initiate the command. I could leave my cursor here and type M as in move, hit enter, and I'll still get the same effect. Now it's asking me select the object that you typically want to move in your command window. I left click, I right click, and it's asking me specify the base. Well, this is going to be my base here, not here. Well, I can move it here as well if I want to, but it's either one. So I'm going to choose here. I'm going to left click, and I'm going to move in the direction that I want the line to move into. And I wanted to move 2.5 units up. 2.5 units up. Okay. Now I can hit the space bar to initiate this command again. I'm going to left click, right click, and it's asking me to specify the base point. This is my base. This is my base point. Okay. Or I can choose this as my base point. It's entirely up to you. And then I'm going to left click, and I'm going to move it in the direction that I wanted to go. And I wanted to go 2.5 units from right to left. Okay. So now these are my construction lines. Okay. So now what I want to do now is I want these two lines to meet. I want them to intersect, because where they intersect is where I need to get rid of the excess lines. Okay. So there's quite a few ways you can do this, but I'm going to show you a very quick way. Under fillet, I can either move my cursor up here to click fillet, And in this category, you have a fillet, you have a chamfer, and you have blend curves. And we'll talk about that towards the end of the class, though. Okay, so I'm going to click my fillet, and if you look at your command window, it has many options. And in that option, I'm going to click a radius. Okay, now the radius, I just wanted to keep it at 0, 0. I just want to utilize the fact that it can connect two lines together for them to intersect. So I'm going to type in 0.0, hit enter, and I'm going to hover over this line, and I'm going to left click it. I'm going to hover over this line, and I'm going to left click it, and as you can see, they both meet right here. Now, we talked about trim. I'm going to come to my trim command here, initiate it by left clicking on it. Now I want to get rid of these excess lines. To be quite candid with you, I really don't. I'm going to hit escape to, I'm going to hit it. Well, let me just continue with it, with the trim. Let me continue. So I want to get rid of this excess line. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this line as a boundary. Okay, I'm going to left click it, right click, and then I'm going to left click to get rid of this line. I'm going to left click to get rid of this line. I'm going to right click, and then I'm going to left click to hit enter. Okay, so now I've got rid of those. Now I want to get rid of these two lines. So I'm going to hit my space bar to initiate the trim command again. I'm going to left click this line. I'm going to left click this line. I'm going to right click, then left click this line, left click this line, right click, left click enter, and I'm done. Okay. Now I want to create, I want to be able to create this slanted line. Okay. So what I would like to do is I would like to create another geometric line again. I mean construction line, I'm sorry. And I'll just type in LI for line. Well, L is for line. And then I'm just gonna hover over in this upper left hand corner, left click it, move up, left click it, right click it, left click enter again. And then likewise, I am going to I know that this line here is 6.5 units, right? And I'm going to subtract 5.5 from 6.5. So if I do that, if I initiate my line command again, left click to be able to stop that. Let me back up. Let me explain that correctly. So I want to initiate my line command. I initiate my line command by left clicking on it. I go to the area that I want to be able to start the line. I left click, move my line over, left click again, right click, left click to hit enter to end that command. And I want to move this down 1 unit. Okay, so I'm going to go over to my move command. I initiate it by left clicking, then I left click on the object that I want to move. Again, keep in mind your command window. Okay, right click is asking me specify the base. This is my base, and I can left click and then move it in the direction that I want, which is going to be 1.0. Okay, now I'm coming back to this line again. I want to move this line over to my right, so initiate the move command, click the object that I want to move, right click, specify the base, move over 6.5 units, 6.5 units. Okay, so now I can draw a line, initiate the line command. I hover over one endpoint, and I can hit F8 to move, so I'm not so restricted to just straight lines, and I can connect these two lines. Right click, left click to hit enter. Okay, so I could come to my erase command. I can erase this, and I can erase this, right click, and they're gone. So I can use a trim command again to get rid of excess lines. This is going to be my boundary because I don't want these two perpendicular lines. So if I left click, that's my boundary. I right click, I hover over, left click, hover over, left click, right click, left click again, and I'm done. Okay. Now we'll do the same thing again to create circles. So I'm going to use these same lines. I'm going to initiate a line command again. I'm going to hover over the area that I want to create the line. Left click, just move, and I'm now going to go back to my ortho, which is F8. That makes that line straight. And I just create the distance is not so much important. I just want to use them as construction lines. So what I also can do again, I can type in L for line to create the line. I come to this endpoint, left click, move over, right click, enter. Okay. Now I want to move these two lines, these two perpendicular lines, I want to move them over, right? So I'm going to initiate my move command, left click, right click at the base, move it over 2.5 units, and then I'm going to hit my space bar to initiate the command again. It says select the object. I select the object, right click is asking me what's the base point. It's going to be my base. Left click it, move up, and I'm going to move up 3.0. Okay, I want these two lines to meet. We know we can use that fillet command again. Okay, now under radius, left click, and we have 0.0. You can type in 0.0, then hit enter. Then you can left click by selecting this, left click by selecting this, and those two lines intersect and join. Okay, now I want to be able to get rid of, actually I'm just using, again, these are just my construction lines. So now I want to create a circle, and this circle is 2.5 in diameter. So if I click my circle command, I have it in radius, diameter, 2 points. I want a diameter, so I can click that. Now, let me back up here. I'm going to hit escape because I said that my circle should be in red. So I need to choose a correct layer for that. Now I come initiate my circle command, or I could just actually type in CI, and it'll give me the circle, and I could click circle or by my mouse, or just hit enter, either or. It says specify the center point of the circle, right? So this is my center point right here, okay? Now it wants me to specify the radius of the circle or the diameter, but since I chose a diameter function, that's why I have it highlighted in gray. So I'm going to put in 2.5, that's a diameter. Okay, that is very large. I'm going to hit Control Z at the same time. That removes that last command. I'm going to come under my initiate my circle again command, and then I'm going to type in 2.5. Okay, and that's the diameter. Okay. Now I can get rid of these construction lines by initiating the erase command. Left click, right click, and they're gone. Okay. Now, what I would like for you to do for part of your homework is I would like for you to initiate this last circle. Okay, this circle that has a diameter of 1.5. Okay. I want you to replicate everything that has been done, and also initiate that diameter of 1.5. Okay, and I think I'm going to stop here. I don't want to give too much. I want to see where everyone is before I start moving forward. I just want to make sure all of us are on the same page, that I'm not losing anybody. So I'm going to stop here. My next step will be to really to start dimensioning this. I can, again, I can come in and dimension this particular um, this particular object, and I can go to my dimension style manager where I can actually come in here and also tweak how I want the dimensions to look. I can create text. Um, I could play around my extension lines and suppress some of my extension lines as well. Um, my dimension lines, I can suppress those as well. Uh, so, and then if it's going to be a linear, I can just come over here, and again, it's 6.5. And then I can come here. Oops, that's not what I wanted. And I can just, it's also 5.5, okay? And I can, but we'll do this, okay? And I can do this of this nature, okay? And, but we'll do this. This is going to be, I want to make sure everyone's on the same page before I begin to do all of this, okay? Again, you don't have to do all of this. All I want you to do is to replicate the circle here, okay? It's going to be a circle. It's going to be around here somewhere. But I want you to replicate that. Now, when you send me your drawings, you're going to send it to me a .dwg, and once I upload the file, I'll know exactly the location of this circle. Okay. So I hope this helps. Please let me know. Again, you don't have to include in your homework. You don't have to include this. I'm going to erase this. If I double click on the wheel, it zoom extents is what's being activated, and it just centers your drawing automatically, okay, to its fullest. Okay. If I want to be able to kind of zoom out, I just move my mouse upward, the wheel of the mouse, move it upward. If I want to zoom in, I move the wheel of the mouse outward, and it allows me to zoom in even more. Okay. So I hope this helps. Please give me comments on how this has impacted you. Is it helping? Is it confusing, or just let me know, because the sooner I know, the better I can make changes to, because my goal is for you to have the best experience in CAD. Okay, thank you very much. I'm very grateful. Thank you.